Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to be adding our border and our dimensions, okay? So first of all, I'm going to actually go underneath our camera. This is the physical printed out version of the drawing guide that you have available to you in assignment 5B. Okay, now, first and foremost, the drawing guides. I want everybody's attention, okay? So if you're not listening right now, come back to me right now. You will be duplicating what you see on my drawing guides. You will not be like, I think it will look better like this. No, you are going to duplicate what I have. That's what the drawing guides are there for. We're going to be, I know you might be like, well, isn't that copying? For right now, you're getting used to how to put dimensions on appropriately. You're getting used to, what views you're going to be switching. And you're also learning how to use AutoCAD. It's a whole lot of learning that's going on and practicing and using it as a tool. So yes, for right now, you're going to take my guides and you're going to copy them. You're going to place everything the way it is. So first of all, as we look here, this is on a B-size border. How do I know? Because B is right here in the title block, okay? Down here in the title block. I also have the scale that I brought it in at. Notice that it says 1:2. This is always going to be the drawing scale. What that means is I pulled this border in and I had to make it 2 times larger to fit around this drawing that was drawn 1:1, okay? So 2 is going to be the scale that we actually pull the drawing in at, okay? It's also going to be the scale that we're going to change on in our dimension manager to then make the text the right size, okay, that we don't have to mess around with it too much, okay? All right, now, the other thing that you're going to notice is on my drawing border here, I want to kind of space things out. Number one, so that I have enough room to put my dimensions in place, but also to use up the space on the drawing. So, for instance, you'll notice that this distance, from just doing the drawing that we did, this is wider than when we put the miter line in place, okay? And that's okay. Because we have CAD, we can literally move this view away to give more room to add dimensions. I don't want anything squished. I also want you to place these views so that they take up the space. I don't want them all crowded or all to the left or all to the right. Place them so it looks nice and it's proportional. I will be looking for that. Points will come off if you do that, okay? Or if you pull the border in with any other scale than what is here. Remember, this is the guide. If you pull the border in and you pull the C-size border in, put it at 1:1, points off. This is a B-size border. You can see it right away, okay? So look at the title block, look at the guide. Before you pull any borders in, make sure you're doing it to the scale. So it's always going to be the second number is what you're going to pull that in at. If it's 1:1, then you pull it in at 1. Okay. And that means it should fit around. Okay. If it's 1:1.5, then you're pulling it in at 1.5 scale. Okay. And then also know which border you're working with. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pull that border in. It's going to be an insert block from libraries or however that goes. So we're going to go back to AutoCAD and I still have my drawing up. Okay, so I made my 3 views. I constructed the views appropriately. Now I'm ready to pull in my border. You do not start dimensioning until after you pull in your border because the border sets the scale then for the dimensions in the text. Okay, so we have to know what size that border is coming in at. So we're going to go to that insert tab. Oh, before we do, whether you do it before or after honestly doesn't make a difference, but as long as I thought of it, I might as well put my layer on the border layer because then the border is going to come in on that layer right away. If you don't put it in on the border layer, I'm not plugged in. If I don't put it on the border layer, then what can happen is then I just have to do it separately later. Hold on, I better plug in before I don't have enough juice. Just a sec. Okay. Plugged in. Okay, so we're going to look for that B-size border. So we're going to go to insert. We're going to arrow down to, I know it doesn't like my, we're going to arrow down and we're going to go to blocks from libraries. So I'm going to click on that. And then our dialog box is going to come up. We're going to arrow down. You might have it populated from a previous time, but I'm going to navigate again. I'm going to go to browse block libraries, and then I'm going to go to where my WCTC drawing borders are. If you haven't downloaded them from Canvas yet, you have to do that. And then also place them somewhere you know you're going to be able to get them again. So the OneDrive hasn't been awesome lately. So if the OneDrive isn't a good spot for you, that's okay. Whoopsie. So we're going to look for the WCTC B border because that's what's on our drawing guide. Okay. I'm going to hit open and then it's going to populate up here. Now, before you click to go in, you have to look down here at the uniform scale. So make sure it says uniform scale and that these say, you should be able to switch. Okay, yeah, when you do one, it switches them all. So you have to switch it to 2 on like the X, Y, or the Z, and then it'll switch. And then once that is switched, now you're going to click. Remember, it's not a click and drag. It's a click, left click, and then now it's on your cursor. How can that be? It's so big. Is yours big? All right, we're hitting escape. We're going back. Did I put the wrong number in there? That's really weird. Uniform scale, put it to 1. Enter. We're going to do a click again. So it's still there. Click. It's definitely the right size. So, well, Kelly 0. One mistake tonight. Once we place it around, and even if you have to move it a little later, no worries. We're going to get the scale right this time. Material. Looks like I have steel in the title block. Scale is going to be 1:1, not 1 to 2. I'll update that. I'm so sorry. And then the date, whatever today's date is. Let's see, where did AutoCAD go? Whatever today's date is. So it's 9/17/2025. Drawing number. You can just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you want to. I'm not too worried about drawing number. And then this is the index feed. And then drawn by, you want to put your initials. And we're going to hit OK. All right. And now what that did was filled in our title block 1:1 scale. Okay. I'll know if you were listening today. No, I'll get that updated. Okay. And then now I can close out this dialog box so that I can zoom, extends, and have everything on my screen. So right now, placement looks good. Now, if you need to, you know that when you pulled in this block, it's going to stay one entity. And that's actually kind of nice because now if you need to move it around, you can go back to the home screen, go to the move command and select any point in that or on that border, hit enter, and now you can move it wherever you need it to go. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so no worries. Now I'm going to move my right side view to the right a little bit just because I know already I'm going to need a little bit more room than that. So I'm just going to select it. Make sure you have ortho on because it has to stay in line. And I'm just going to left click and then move it about there. Okay, let's go back underneath here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create what we see here. Okay, so let's start in the front view. Okay. So we are going to go back to AutoCAD. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to change to my dimension layer. And then I'm going to look at my dimension style. I'm going to look at my numbers. So I'm going to go back underneath. You're going to notice that pretty much almost every dimension besides the angles and this one, they're all 2-place decimals, right? So we're going to go to AutoCAD. If you have this toolbar up, you can simply arrow down and go to your 2-place inch dimension style. Okay. If not, the other place that you can do it, you have to go to annotate arrow down by the dimensions, and then you need to go to select it here in this list and just say set as current. Okay. And that would be the other way that you could do it. Okay. But on the toolbar, I think is really nice and handy. Okay. So we've got that there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start dimensioning. So as you see here, like I said, I want you to duplicate what we have. So if we start looking, the overall length, and I'm going to go to a linear dimension. Most of them are linear dimensions. Actually, all of them are linear dimensions in this view. So I'm going to start on the left side, and then I'm going to go all the way over to the right side. I am going to turn ortho off, and I'm going to then move up and left click to place it. You can always move these around later as well, so don't get too concerned about that. That's not set in stone. So then I'm going to do a left click, and here's my 0.25. Now, if you want this on the other side, you just left click it, and then you're going to left click on, and this is a click, not a click and drag, left click on the text, and you're just going to move it to the other side. That's all. Okay. It's that simple. Then I've got another linear. I'll do the 1 1/4, come down here. Then I've got my heights over here. Now, one of the rules of dimensioning is we try to put as many dimensions between the views as possible, okay? But also, you don't want to pull extension lines across a drawing or a view, I'm sorry. So for instance, you'll notice that we have the overall length is up in between the views, okay? Mostly because it correlates not only to the front view, but it also is in line with the top view. So it's good practice to try to get them in between. So we're going to put those in between here, but you'll notice that my 1.25 is down at the bottom. If I would put it in between, I would be running this extension line all the way across the view. You want to avoid that. So it just makes sense to put it down here. So it's not a violation. It's just, you know, placement just makes sense. All right. Now what I want to do is, looks like I've got, oopsie, here, 0.62. I'm going to move that so it's in between. I think that looks better. Okay. Another linear dimension. 9. And another linear from here down here and 0.19. Okay. In that view, these are all my 2-place linear dimensions, okay? Now, the next dimension that we have, and it's the only one, okay? You'll notice that we have 0.75, and it's called a limit dimension. It's giving us the upper limit and the lower limit of the, I'm going to say the target for the width of this feature to be, okay? Now, to put this in, this is a special dimension. So what we're going to do is we are going to go back over to AutoCAD. Now, right now, we just have the 2 styles set up. We have 2-place and 3-place, and that's it, okay? Now, this is a 3-place dimension. So we are going to go to our dimension manager, and we need to make a new dimension, okay? A new dimension style. We are not going to change the current one. We're going to make a new one that's going to be like the current one. So you want to pick the 3-place because this is a 3-place dimension already. So we want to try to change as least as possible. So I hope I have everybody's attention in the room because this is something that's different. And if I see that you're not following the guide or you don't know how to do it, then points will be coming off, okay? And you'll end up doing it later on anyway, if you so choose. So I'm going to do the 3-place and I'm going to call this new, okay? And you can call this whatever you want. So I'm going to go 3_PL_limits, okay? Limits, okay. Oh, I did that. I spelled it wrong. It's just going to be spelled wrong. I'm not going to worry about it. Now, where we're going to go is the primary units here are 3, which we want, but we're going to go to the very last tab where it says tolerances, okay? We are now going to arrow down where it says none. we're going to put limits. This is called a limit dimension. Okay. So now notice in here, it changed. The style changed to upper and lower values. That's what a limit dimension is. Now, precision we know is 3. Now, here is where you have to know what you drew it at. We drew it at 0.75. And our limits need to be, if you look underneath here, they need to be 0.75 on top, upper limit, and 0.74 lower limit. So when we look back over here in AutoCAD, it says, okay, your upper limit, how much do you want to add or subtract? Okay. We don't want to add or subtract anything because we already drew it to 0.75. All right. So that number stays 0. The lower limit though is going to be, okay, now I'm going to be a little upset. I think lower limit should be an automatic minus, but we will find out because now I'm like questioning this. Okay. So 0.005, 5 thousandths. All right. Now scaling the height, you could change the scale if you wanted to. We're going to leave it at 1:1 and everything else is going to remain the same. Okay. So I'm going to hit okay. And I'm going to say set as current. Okay. And close. Now notice it didn't change any of the ones that I already put in there. It's only going to be this one next dimension that is going to be this limit dimension. We're going to hope that it goes the way we want it to. No, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to do my linear dimension. I'm going to click on the endpoint of each one of these. Oh, it worked. Look at that. All right. So 0.75 to 0.740, or 0.745. But do you notice something's not right here? You guys notice anything on English drawings? There's something not right about this dimension. The leading 0, we suppress leading zeros on English dimensions. Now, we can leave this here. Don't change it. All we're going to do is we're going to go back in to our dimensions. Make sure that your 3-place limits, whatever you called this dimension style, we're going to go in and we're going to modify it. Okay. And it's only going to change this one. And what we need to do is, was it in tolerances? Yeah. So if we go to that tolerances tab again, we just have to zero suppress the leading 0, and that's it. Okay. And it's down here on that one. And then we're going to hit okay. And we're going to say set current and close. And now notice that leading 0 disappeared. Okay. Now we don't want any of our next dimensions to be limit dimensions. So we're going to go back up here and we're going to change it back to a 2-place inch. Okay. And what's nice is we don't have to go back into that dialog box. We just can change it right here on the toolbar. If you don't have the toolbar up, here's a reminder of how to get it. You're going to go to Tools, Toolbars, AutoCAD, and you want to click on the Dimension toolbar. Okay. And then it's going to go somewhere random on your screen, maybe even over at the top of the ribbon somewhere, and you just want to move it so that you can see it. Okay. All right. So questions about the front view? It's kind of fun, right? Let's go over to the right side view. Right side view. So these are all 2-place linear dimensions, but we do have an angle. So I'll do the linear dimensions first. Now you're going to notice my 0.62 is kind of far over. So I'm going to left click it, and then I'm just going to left click again and just move it over to the left with another left click. Okay. And then I'm going to start linear dimensioning the overall height. That in here. And you can hit enter to keep repeating the overall depth. Let's see. At 0.94. And I think that's all we have in there. Now, when we want to do the angle dimension, okay, angle dimension, we are going to either go on your toolbar. The angle is kind of in the, I don't know, not the middle, it's about a third of the way down. It's here. Or if you go to the annotation portion on our home ribbon, there's a bunch of, here are those dimensions as well. That's where I traditionally go for my dimensions. So whichever one. So we're going to go to angular. Now we're going to click on that 30-degree line and the horizontal line. And then we're going to move our cursor though, so that it's over here on this line right there. Okay. And then you're going to left click. Okay. Make sure I'm going to tell you something that's not okay. So if I do this angle dimension like this and like this is not okay. This is dimensioning on the part. Even if you have your 30 degrees and it is up here and you're like, well, my 30 degrees isn't on the part. You are using the part as one of your extension lines. You can't do that. Okay, makes sense. So we want to delete that. You have to pull it off so you have two extension lines for your angular dimension. Everybody see that? Okay. All right. So that's that. All right, side view. Now, things like this, I'm going to tell you, I want you to duplicate what I have, but these types of things are not super important. This is what I don't care about. Notice that here, this 30-degree angle, this is closer in, so it put the arrows on the outside. The one that I just created is further away, and the arrows are on the inside. That's the same dimension, okay? As long as you're not like crazy far away or, you know, super duper close, okay? So you want to, like, here is when it kind of changes. So either, you know, if you're in this range, I'm totally good with that. Same thing over here. As long as your dimensions aren't interfering with anything else, if, for instance, you showed this 0.19 up here like this, and then you pushed your 0.62 out a little bit, totally fine. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so don't get too hung up in those, but that the placement is the same, that they're linear dimensions, that, you know, everything else looks super duper close. All right, top view. Top view. I think I got to move it down just a little bit, which means I probably have to move my 3.25 down a little bit, which is okay. That's why CAD works out really good for this. So I'll start by putting my dimension, and I'm going to move this first. Move, because I can see I need a little bit more room. There we go. Undo that because I know it was not on ortho. Be sure I'm on ortho. Now, if your views are further apart, totally good. Okay. All right, so let's start moving around this one. So I'm going to start on the bottom. The first one I have here is going to be from here to the center of my hole. Now, something I saw on previous drawings, okay, was that you were clicking to the inside of the hole. No, 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 no. You have to click at the bottom of, or on the actual center line, the edge of the center line, so you get a gap. If you click all the way here, it's a continuous line down and you don't see the center line breaks. Okay, so you have to click on the end point of the center line. The next one that we have here is going to be another linear dimension from the right edge to where that triangle starts, right about there. Then we're going to have another one linear from that front edge to the other center line, the vertical center line. Okay. Then we're going to do our 50 degrees. So again, angle dimension this time, horizontal line, angle line, and we're going to pull out, out, out. Okay. Make sure you're not interfering with the 0.75. The next one we have going to be another horizontal dimension from this edge to the 1.25. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to have an angle dimension from here to here, 40 degrees, right about there. Okay. Now, notice a couple things. We are close to the top here, but I am in no way, shape, or form going over that inner line. Okay. I had a couple of people that have handed some things in. I think it was on the practice problems where they were going into the drawing border. You can't do that with anything. You can't even do it. You can't even do it like if a little part of your dimension went down in here. Can't do that. All right. It has everything about the drawing has to be in the drawing area. Okay. You cannot cross over onto the title block at all. So I didn't. I'm close, but I didn't. I might still move that down a little bit, but we'll see. Okay. So now something is wrong here though. One of the rules of dimensioning is you cannot cross a dimension line. A dimension line is a line with an arrow on it. Notice here, I crossed my extension line over that arrow. There really isn't any other way to do it. Okay, so we need to create a gap. So notice here, okay, I have a gap. All right, and so we have to manually put that in. So let's go back over here. Oopsie, back to AutoCAD. And we are going to take that dimension, okay? And I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. I'm going to grab that little grip and we're going to go up, 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 up until we get to that arrow. You can even put it right on the arrow, just so we create that gap, okay? So we just went vertically up with that. If you don't go vertically up and you don't have your ortho on, then your dimension might change. So you'll have to redo it. So now what we have to do is we just have to add a line that's on the dimension line layer. So I'm going to add a line. I'm going to activate that endpoint, create a gap, go straight up, and create that gap. That's it. Okay? That's what you have to do. Make sense? Because again, we cannot cross, we can't violate, we can't cross a dimension line. Dimension line is the one that has the arrowhead on it. All right. So I think we have all of our linear dimensions in place. The last dimension we need to put in is going to be for that counter bore, okay, for the counter bore. So if we go underneath here, the dimension we're going to be putting in is right there, all right? So we're going to start by putting in the 1/2-inch diameter hole. So we're going to, when you do a counter bore, you always dimension to the smaller of the two holes, or you point your leader at it. So this is a diameter dimension. So we're going to go to the diameter dimension. We're going to click on that inner hole, okay? And then we're just going to pull this out. And it's only going to be a diameter of 0.5, okay? Which is okay, Now, I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to double click on this, and then I can go into that text editing mode. In front of that 0.5 is a diameter symbol already. So we don't have to put that symbol in. So that's good. But I'm going to arrow to the right because immediately in back of this, I need to put through because we want to let them know that that hole is going all the way through. So we're going to do space. Make sure you put a space. THRU. Sorry. THRU. Okay. Now we're going to hit enter. And we're going to go into our second line. Now, our second line has the counter bore symbol. Okay, so if we go underneath here, the counter bore symbol is that right there. So we're going to put it in as a symbol. And the other symbol we have here is depth. Okay, so we're going to pull those in both at the same time. So if I go to AutoCAD, okay, and on that text editing ribbon that automatically comes up when we're in this text editing mode, you're going to notice about 3/4 over, there is a symbols menu, okay? If you arrow down, you're going to notice there is no counter bore symbol or depth symbol here. I don't know why. It's kind of silly that they don't, but they don't. So we have to go all the way down to other, okay? And this dialog box is going to come up. What you need to do is you need to populate this with the GDT font. So if you're on a different font, go to the G's, and it's going to be the GDT. Nothing else in back of it, just GDT font. Okay. Once you have that active, you're going to notice that you're going to have some numbers, letters, and some symbols. The symbol for counter bore is on the bottom line here, and it is like right about there. You're not going to see the full symbol. Let me see how many in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in from the left. All right. So you're going to click on it. It's going to make it bigger, and you're simply going to hit select, and it's going to populate down in that dialog box there with the characters because it's going to say characters to copy. You're going to put a space in back of it, and then you're going to go over to the right. How many spots? 2 spots. And this is the depth symbol. And you're going to select that one. And it's going to populate in that line down below. Do you see that? Okay. Now you're going to hit copy. All right. You're putting it on your clipboard. Is that what they call it, right? The clipboard. So you copied it. Now we can X out of this. And down here where you have that blinking cursor, you're simply going to do a right click and paste. Okay. Now you've got the counter bore and the depth symbol in there. So I'm going to backspace if it went down to the next line. Right between the counter bore and the depth symbol, you're now going to put a diameter of 0.75. So we're going to down arrow again, and diameter symbol is on that list. So we're going to add diameter, and we're going to put 0.75 space. So diameter symbol is always going to be right next to your size, but you have to put spaces in between any other symbols. Does that make sense? Okay. So right before the depth here, we're going to say 0.35, and then the depth symbol can be immediately in back of that. Okay. Or no, I'm sorry. I put depth and then 0.35 in back of it. Sorry. We want to do it the same way we see there. Okay. Now, something you're going to notice if I click off of this, all right, the top line size of the text is bigger than the bottom line. So where we inserted our symbols, for some reason, it changed the size of the text. We have to make that the same. Okay, you have to have all of your text on a drawing the same size. So I am just going to reselect that, double click it. It's going to go into that text editing mode, but I'm just going to select the second line. Okay, so I want to select, like I would any other text, the second line. And up here in that text editing mode, you'll notice that they have underneath annotative, they have 0.09, whatever that number is. Why it's that, I don't know. But we just want to go down to 0.125. And that's the size of the text that's on our whole drawing. And then I can left click, and now I'm okay. So notice that it's the same size. Okay. All right. So that node is in. If you need to move it, remember we never want it to be horizontal. We don't want it to be super vertical. Where we're at, actually, I'm gonna turn my ortho off. Where we're at is actually pretty good. So something like about that 30 to 60 degree angle for that leader. Okay, I'm gonna zoom extents. Kind of look at my drawing. What do you think? Compare it to our guide. Are we done? I think so. I really do. I mean, I just want you to double check. So I've got my 40, my 125. Yeah, I think we are good. So spacing wise, if you have to move anything around at this point, if you feel like you got to shift left or right, try to get it nice and centered. I'm looking at mine. I'm probably a little bit to the right. So I am going to move. I'm going to select all my views. I'm going to make sure that my ortho is on. And I'm just going to move this over to the right a little bit. Okay. And other than that, I think I've got plenty of room for everything. So one more save. And then now I need to create my PDF that I'm going to upload to the assignment. Okay. Remember, this is going to be our first of 4 for assignment 4B. So I'm going to do File, Save As. Oh no, I'm so sorry. File, Plot, thinking of a different software, Plot. And we are going to go down on our printer plotter. We're going to go down to AutoCAD PDF. We're going to go what to plot. We want to do window. And we're going to select, I'm going to roller out one spot, and I'm going to select the upper left-hand corner, lower right-hand corner of our border. And we want to make sure that our plot scale is fit to paper. And we're always going to do a preview and make sure that everything is on our paper, which it is, okay? And that looks good. I can X out of here. And then the dialog box should come back up, and it did. And I'm going to say, okay. And now it's going to ask to navigate to somewhere, okay? So you're going to navigate to wherever you want to save this so that when you have all 4 problems done, you can upload it to the assignment. So mine is on my OneDrive, mechanical design, tech drafting, module assignments, drawing guides, save. There we go. Okay. And then it'll give you a preview, and you can just X out of that. All right, so now you're ready. You have one of the three, all the views, all the dimensions on the proper border to upload to assignment 5B. Are there any questions before we stop the recording here? Okay, all right, so I'm going to stop the recording.